Cravings. We all get them. What about those back-breaking cravings? Like, I gotta have that pizza, those donuts, that bag of Doritos, I'm getting at that right now. I had those cravings for years, and yet I found a way to keep them away. I'm Ryan Smith, TV host, legal analyst, and for over 3 decades, I've been finding ways to hack fitness. Now I'm in my mid-50s, and I'm in the best shape of my life, and I feel better than I've ever felt, and a lot of that is from cutting out cravings. I want to talk to you about a study that helped me cut these cravings down. I'm going to show you what these researchers looked at, why we have cravings. I'll tell you what they found and ways that you can use what they found to help you keep cravings at bay. 5 ways you can cut down cravings in your life. And the last one is so easy, you'll get the benefit just from watching this video. Over the years, there's been dozens of studies about why we crave, why we want things. But one of the biggest ones was one that came out of Yale University. A group of researchers from Yale, led by Boswell and Kober, conducted a study called Food Cue Reactivity and Craving Predict Eating and Weight Gain, a meta-analytic review. Meta-analytic means just they took a whole series of studies and put them together to try to draw conclusions. That's what makes this so powerful. This one took over 45 published studies that contained over 3,200 subjects. And from that, they came up with conclusions about cravings. They wanted to answer one particular question. Does seeing food or craving food make you want to eat more? They measured what happens when people see food cues. That's either seeing food right in front of you or smelling a particular food. And the answer to their question, does seeing food or craving food make you want to eat more? Their answer was yes. Even looking at your phone, pictures on your phone of food makes you want to crave it almost as much as seeing it right before your eyes. Your brain gets triggered on the image alone, and that triggers eating. The more you're exposed to food cues around you, the more you crave them, the more you eat. It's that simple. From that, they came up with a couple of conclusions. If you're in an environment where you're always seeing and smelling food, you tend to crave it and want it more. They also came up with conclusions about stimulus control, that reducing food cues is a behavioral strategy that works. Taking the food out of your sights, taking the smell of it away, is a behavioral cue that cuts down on cravings. Another one, meal planning helps manage weight. Because when you have only the food in front of you at certain times, when it's time for that meal, it helps. Now, I found some things in this that not only helped me in terms of how I reduce my own cravings, but also it lent itself to things I've been doing for years to keep those cravings at bay. And I want to talk to you about 5 of them. The first thing you can do to keep cravings away, eat on a schedule. A lot of times when you say eat on a schedule, people think, you're going to tell me when I have to eat and I have to eat the same time every day? Not at all. Think of it this way. Hunger amplifies cue reactivity. So when you're hungry, those food cues, they get amplified. When you're hungry and you see that pizza in that window outside that cafe, you're like, oh, I gotta have that now. When you're not hungry, you might walk past it and say, it's pizza, I like it, but I don't really want it right now. If you're already hungry, those food cues are triggered harder. If you're not hungry, they're not. It's that simple. That food cue doesn't have any power over you, or at least a whole lot less than if you were starving and really needed something right now. So you eat your meals on a bit of a set schedule. What does that mean? It's saying to yourself, I'm gonna have breakfast in the morning in a particular time frame. I'm gonna have lunch in a particular time frame, maybe a mid-afternoon snack and a dinner. You are keeping your body every 2 to 3 hours filled with fuel. When somebody comes into the office with a hamburger that smells great, you are less attuned to that. It's just making sure you're satiated all day long so you are not susceptible to those food cues. Number 2, avoid trigger environments. The thing people do when they're hungry, what do? Especially if they're at home. Let's go to the grocery store and pick up some food. You're at that grocery store, you're walking the aisles, and you got your maybe lunch, maybe you wanted a sandwich, you got everything for that. But now, hey, I'm here, let me just go down the snack aisle. Let me check out those Little Debbie snack cakes. Let me check out those crackers. My big thing was always Cheez-Its. Let me check out those Cheez-Its. Now you're buying twice as much stuff as you came to the grocery store for, and a lot of it is not good for you. That's because you're in a triggering environment. You have to take yourself out of a triggering environment. How do you do that? Food services like Fresh Direct, Instacart, all of these services, you can go on, order food, have it delivered, have it in your place, and eat the food where you are. Now you might say to me, okay, but when I open the fridge, I'm triggered. I get that. But you're a lot less triggered opening that fridge than you are in an entire world of a grocery store with everything your heart desires, including things you weren't even thinking about, smells that you now smell when you walk in that grocery store, and sight. Remember, the food cues are just as powerful, according to the study, when you see them on your phone What if you see them in person? You're gonna pick it up and you're gonna buy it. The study shows that environmental exposure to these food cues triggers eating. Once I started doing services like Fresh Direct and Instacart and ordering my food that way, the cravings went away. Because those Cheez-Its that I love, I never order them. And since I'm almost never at the grocery store, I never see them and I'm never triggered by them. Number 3, mentally reframe when you see food cues. Now this one is kind of interesting. When you see a pizza on social media or you're walking by a window and you see these beautiful donuts smoking in the window and you're thinking, I really want those. There's a mind trick you can use to cut down on the desire and craving for those. You can say to yourself, that donut, that's 80 carbs I don't need. Now, you might hear that and say, now we're counting carbs. You're not counting carbs. You're looking at the food and you're saying that can either be a donut or that can be 50 carbs I don't want right now. Or I was gonna have pizza later. I'm not gonna load up on donuts right now. That's 60 carbs I don't want right now. What are you doing? You're mentally reframing what that food represents. I do this all the time. If I see a donut, it looks good, but I'm like, man, I eat that. I was gonna eat something fun later. I don't want that right now. And that helps me change the craving environment. You're essentially seeing 40, 50, 60 carbs or 20 grams of sugar or 50 grams of fat that don't align with your goals. That's all you're doing. You're just looking at it and seeing it differently. And the study shows that the cognitive reappraisal of food in this way cuts down on the desire for that actual food. It's amazing how our brains work, right? And you have the control right within you to change the way you see it. Number 4, this was one I had to learn in my own home that I wasn't even doing right. Change how you store food. Take a look at this pantry picture. I have a wife and 2 kids, and this was our pantry just a couple days ago. And my wife pulled me aside and said, you know what? When our kids go to camp, we're changing around this pantry. And I thought, what's wrong? That looks so clean and neat and nice. She said, no, when I look at that, all I want is those pretzels. All I want are those chips. And it finally dawned on me, as this study also reflects, that I am storing the food improperly. What am I doing? I'm putting up a whole laundry list of craveable foods for my wife, my kids, and me to see. And I'm making it harder for everyone. And that's exactly what she was saying. Now take a look at that picture. That's what my pantry looks like right now. Now, is the pantry perfect? No. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking for progress. What we've done with this shelf is make it so that those inputs, those food cues, are not around anymore. Where did I put them instead? I put them in a drawer down below that's closed. That drawer has to be opened by people to eat. That's actually my kids' drawer, and they open that drawer when they want snacks. They're not so worried about cravings. They're little kids. But for my wife, for me, we don't want those cravings. So we've removed that food from being right in front of our faces and put it in a drawer. You can do the same thing. Those foods that tempt you in your house, you don't have to throw every single one of them away. You can put them in a drawer in an area that remains closed. You are right there, cutting down on the food cues that trigger your mind to say, I am craving something. And when you eat them, that trigger you to say, I want more and more and more of it. Number 5, and this is the one you're getting just from watching this video. Notice a craving without acting. When you get a craving, notice it, but wait anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes, or ideally 10 to 15 minutes before acting on it. What does that do for your brain? Research on mindfulness tells us acknowledging a craving without acting on it reduces its intensity. So you can have a craving. You say, hey, I'm craving Doritos, but you acknowledge it and you say, you know what? I'm gonna set a timer on my phone, 10 minutes, and I'm not gonna do anything about it. I'm gonna do something else, and the intensity goes down. Now, will it make it so that you never have the craving? Nope. Remember, this is progress, not perfection. The more you're used to reducing the intensity of cravings, the less you will crave. And when you do crave and you do eat, the less you will eat. And here's the key. You're not denying yourself. That just doesn't work. You're creating space between the food cue and the behavior. It's that simple, folks. I have been putting these practices in play in my life for years, and I rarely feel a craving. In life, when you have a strong hunger pang for something, the best move you can make, the best move, if you want to stay fit and you want to stay happy, is to pause. Wait a second, wait for the intensity to go down, and now you can talk about what you really want. That not only is food you might desire, but it's food that meets your goals. So let me know what you think about this post in the comments below. Let me know what you think about these 5 tips. Try them for yourself and tell me how they work out for you. You can be fit at any age. And with things like cravings, small tweaks, little things can change your life.